And all of the counselors are present. And item number 3 is election of officers, adoption of town rules, and committee assignments. And the item that we have on to vote on today is the updated list of committee assignments. So did I just read these?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll read what we have now and invite comments or discussion. And if everything looks good, then we can vote. So for highway safety, Katana Conley, I'll take that. Budget, Brian Ward and Sonke Dornblut as the alternate. For Energy and Environment Advisory Committee, Joe Lamatina. For the CIP Committee, Sonke Dornblut and Colin White is the alternate. For Conservation Commission, Brian Ward. For the Economic Development Liaison to the Newmarket Business Association, Justin Glazebrook. The representative to the Planning Board, Scott Blackstone. The Ad Hoc Riverfront Advisory Committee, Joe Lamatina. The Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission, Justin Glazebrook. The Ordinance Oversight Committee, we have 3 counselors, Katana Conley, Brian Ward, and Scott Blackstone. And Parking Commission, Katana Conley. Are there any, I guess, accept a motion to approve these?
Mm-hmm.
I accept a motion to approve these assignments.
I'll make a motion to approve these.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you, Councilor Dornblut. Any discussion or changes? Everybody's okay with these?
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. Then, one of you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Glazebrook?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblut?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. Just a very quick reminder that speakers must be residents of Newmarket, property owners of the town of Newmarket, and or designated representatives of civic organizations and businesses. When you're at the podium, speakers need to first recite your name and address for the record, and visitors should address their comments to the presiding officer and the council as a body, as opposed to any individual council member. Each speaker will be provided a single opportunity for comment. Those are limited to 3 minutes. And visitors, just a reminder, visitors should not expect a response to their comments or questions, since public forum is an opportunity for the public to be heard, but it is not a back and forth with the council. So with that, we will open public forum. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? And if you could state your name and address.
James Ward, 22 Ashlock Road. Can I first start with requests for a 6-minute time frame instead of a 3-minute? This is a matter that has some urgency that should be heard soon.
It's the wish of the council. Your council rule says 3 minutes.
Accept a motion?
If there's a motion by council to suspend the rules.
Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and allow for a 6-minute period?
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second? Any comments or discussion? Not a lot going. Not a lot of folks here. I think it's. Okay, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Glazebrook?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblut?
Yep.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, Mr. Ward,
Thank you.
6 minutes.
Board. So I'm the owner of the Rocking Hall Ballroom for the last 2 years. This business has operated as the ballroom since 1937. It's the last ballroom in New England, and I'm told the largest dance floor in New Hampshire. I host varied events on weekends, including your father-daughter event last year. It brings people in from Mass, Maine, Vermont, which in turn brings business to Newmarket. I constantly get compliments on the building and our events. Grateful local patrons are happy to see it stay open. It's a historic building and a local cultural asset. In part, it's why the Newmarket Master Plan gave special attention to this area to support its contribution as a recreation cultural area. 2 weeks ago, the health officer has turned off my water, which has halted my business. As a result, I'm canceling shows I've booked for months, costing me thousands of dollars each week. He cited my septic as non-compliant and a danger to public health, even though the system now is capped off and pumped. My system is a shared field with the abutter, Mr. Tebow. His outflow pipe goes directly into the storm drain, and mine possibly does too. Whether my line is connected also is uncertain, and the field location and the status has been unknown. Several prior owners told me the septic field is in the parking lot across the street, which I own. Since owning, I have been trying to resolve and confirm the status, including engineering studies, camera work, excavators, all at my expense. In addition, I've made multiple efforts for sewer as a solution. There have been delays in part due to the backlog of contractors, no town records, and the conflicting results resulting in needing further investigation. At the same time, I learned that Newfields needs to resolve their treatment plant, and Newmarket was an option. And the line would likely go right past the Rockingham Ballroom. I worked on the Newfield line to connect the towns. I also tried to get a private line which would be 100% user paid as a low pressure system, including grants. This would be a better solution. All the businesses at the junction need some kind of upgrade. I didn't get any interest or help from the town. While working on this, Mr. Tebow of 20 Ash Swamp Road, my abutter, has a salon as a residence, told me he wants to sell and for me to get our shared septic fixed. We're shared by easement. I said, go ahead, you have the right. I'm working on a grant for sewer. Shortly after, I heard from the health officer and ended up capping both tanks, his and mine, to be pumped as needed. In 2003, Mr. Tebow was granted site plan approval by the town for a salon and residence, and he renovated. A septic design was designed then. That engineer has been telling him to replace the system since then. It seems he's been aware of this situation since 2003 and has done nothing to correct it. However, the health officer does not seem concerned about his past behavior. I was also given a cease and desist in January, canceling shows then. A notice was sent to me April 4th to submit a design in 30 days, even though he was told engineers are backlogged 3 months minimum. He emailed me in May with a 4-day notice of my water being turned off. This is right after I told him by email I was giving up on trying to find my field and moving on to comply, as I've always told him I would do. The DES allows for pumping on a temporary basis, and I sent this rule to him and asked for him to abide by this rule. However, Mr. Tebow also has not submitted a required plan, but he is still operating full-time versus my business, which is used once or twice a week for 3 or 4 hours in the evening. I then asked the health officer about use of portable toilets as an option. He confirmed that the town legal people allows portable toilets. So I'm asking how is that better or different than pumping, which he's not allowing. Now the health officer has denied my request to cross the town road to replace the field, essentially making it impossible to design adequate capacity and further delays. I've consulted an attorney who says that he has never heard of the water being shut off on a business when pumping is temporary action being taken to mitigate any health hazard. This would not be such a delay if the town had done their part, followed up on site plans, road construction review, any records in the town, or any storm drains inspections. In addition to this, there's the fire department and my attempt to try to get my annual occupancy permit. The fire department normally comes through one time for inspection, and they've come through 3 times to my place of business, each time with, quote, new items.
So we're just a 1-minute warning.
About half the items quoted to me were not part of any code as verified by the state. For example, no latex paint would be allowed, no WD-40 can can be allowed in the building, and on it went. I submitted all reports and corrections and repairs. I still have no permit, no response, and no delayed response. So I'm asking for the board to investigate to see if the actions by the health officer and fire department were within their authority. I'm asking for a discussion on the potential for sewer line expansion. through a grant, which the deadline is June 1, asking for the water to be turned on and lift that order and to be treated fairly. Can I make it?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
15 seconds.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Okay. If not, we will close public forum at 7:11. Okay. Item 5 on our agenda is acceptance of the minutes, and we have 2 sets of minutes to approve this evening. The first set is the May 3rd, 2023 non-public meeting minutes, and I would accept a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion or changes? Okay, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamatino,
Aye.
Council Dornblue,
Aye.
Council White,
Abstain.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 601.
Excellent. And item 5B is to approve the May 3rd, 2023 Town Council meeting minutes. And do I have a motion to approve those?
So move.
Excellent.
Second.
Awesome. Any discussion or changes? Excellent. If any of you could call the roll.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamatino,
Aye.
Council Dornblue,
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. And we will move on to item 6, which is the report of the town manager. And I will turn that over to you, Manager Forney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item on our report this evening is that in 2016, we conducted an online citizen survey. I provided councils with copies of the questionnaire that we did at that time. At that time, we had over 500 participants, and it actually provided us with useful information. We're going to begin conducting the survey again this coming week. We were going to do it every 5 years, but 5 years after 2016 was the pandemic, so it wouldn't probably the best idea is to try to get a survey going during that time. The only question that we changed, that we added, is about cutting the cord to figure out how many people have cut the cord so they no longer have cable service in their home but get their information through the internet. The survey will be available on the website, newmarketnh.gov, May 22nd through June 22nd, and the results will be presented to the council later this summer. Hard copies of the survey will also be available in the town clerk tax collector's office or the town manager's office for those who prefer to fill one out that way. We want to do the exact same questions to see what the difference is between the now the 8 years in time. So,
Councilor Lamatino.
The Riverfront Committee wanted to add some questions. We're going to work through Bart. Is that?
well, first, I think they should do their own survey.
It is our intent to do
Okay.
a separate one at a later
Yeah,
point.
we can do a separate survey.
Okay, we're not adding anything to this?
No, we want to keep it as
Town
one-to-one is,
All right, I'm
it's
sorry.
very broad, that's why.
Carry on.
Yep. So, the next item, which, May 11th, 2023, marked the end of the COVID-19 public health emergency by the CDC. And I just thought it would be interesting to go over some of the numbers. And the World Health Organization declared the end of the global emergency and one of the most deadly and economically devastating pandemics in modern history. So this actually means that the pandemic is now considered a routine illness. The town of Newmarket has had 2,281 declared cases since 2020. That's 24% of the population, not including those who do not report or tested at home. The Seacoast Health Region, which we are part of, saw 287 deaths. We do not know how many people died of COVID in the town. We can't get that information. 82% of the community, though, have received their vaccination, and our wastewater treatment testing currently has levels below detection. So we are seeing a reduction in COVID. Next item, with 83% of the current fiscal year behind us, we're doing well with the budget. We've only expended 76% of our budget currently in comparison, we expended 80% in the same period last year. Revenues continue to be healthy. We have collected approximately $900,000 more in revenues than we did at this point last year. Motor vehicle registrations continue to be below anticipated figures. That, we believe, is due to the overall market of trying to find cars, which you also see later on when it comes to the police cruiser price. Builder permits are up to 358%. So, yeah. Finally, I just want to address there's an issue, Chapel Street parking. Lately, there's been some discussion about the new 15-minute parking limits on Chapel Street. Those aren't new, actually. When we looked at the town ordinance, when we put the 15-minute on Central Street, we realized that we had put a sign up for the one on Chapel Street, so it was installed. As you can see, the ordinance is clear. It says, looking at the history, it was adopted in 2006. It was my understanding it was for similar reasons as Central Street. It allows people to run into the businesses in the area for a quick trip and run back to their car. At that one point in time, if everybody remembers, there was a convenience store in that location. Although I understand the confusion that a sign was just reinstalled, we cannot take it down without action from the council, so we're taking an amending of the ordinance. And that is all I have tonight, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Councilor Drumble.
Thank you. I'm wondering, you said we've collected, or the town has collected approximately $900,000 more in revenue than we did last year. Do you have a rough breakdown on how that's
Yep.
put together?
Just grab that real quick. Load the document. A lot of it, so about a big chunk of that is actually through real estate taxes. The value of the land, of homes have gone up. So when the value of the home goes up, we collect more in taxes through that property. Other areas, as I mentioned, building permits, we budgeted for 40,000, it's actually coming in at 104. Meals and room tax, we received additional funds there as well from the state. We budgeted for 605,000, we've actually received 827,000. So it's a lot of areas like that. The other, ambulance receipts, we budgeted for 146,000 in ambulance receipts. We've actually collected 448,000. So, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor Blackstone.
So I have a couple of questions. The first question I have is, how is this survey being advertised? How do people even know it's
Yep.
happening?
We're going to do an email blast. We're going to do a press release we sent out by the end of the week to get out in the newspaper and let them know that it's available. We're going to continue to have email blasts on the email list.
Is it going to be on the Friday
Yep.
list or whatever
Yep,
it's
it'll
called?
be on that. It'll be on Channel 13. We're actually we have a QR code all set, so that'll be on Channel 13. If somebody just wants to take a picture of it from their phone, they're going to be able to do it from there.
Councilor Wood.
If we do a QR code, we could ask some of the local businesses just to put it up on the wall,
Yep.
or maybe put up on a Facebook group. But but we can. Sorry, no, that was just yeah.
We are. Actually, that's one of our ideas. We'll put it on our Facebook page,
Yeah.
Instagram page, those items. So again, the QR code and a link, and they can just get it from there.
I'm going to add a couple more questions.
Councilor Blackstone.
So the 15-minute on Chapel Street, that was effectively a change from the consumer perspective,
Correct.
right? Wouldn't it be normal for the town to give some kind of warning? So rather than issue tickets the day you put up the sign, when you change it, right?
Eddie.
Shouldn't we have a policy where people are given warnings? Notice we changed the ordinance, you're parking illegally now because we changed things. So obviously at on Central Street, it's the other way around, right? Where you would have gotten a ticket, you don't. But where we're going to issue tickets, I would like to see a policy of a warning, and I would like to see a policy of an announcement. I'd like to see it put into the Friday newsletter, big letters, Chapel Street parking change. I think, and some people feel that it's almost entrapment. I mean, you clandestinely put up a sign, I mean, to the person on the street.
You just don't want to use the term entrapment with police officers.
Okay, but a sign
Just be
suddenly,
careful. Yeah.
suddenly appears, and then you start issuing tickets, right? And-
The ordinance is on the book. I mean, they could have, even without the sign, the parking enforcement could issue the 15-minute parking. The ordinance was on the books, that it was a 15-minute parking. We encourage those individuals who did receive tickets the first time to contact the police department where they have an appeals process on tickets as well.
Okay, but do we have a policy where when we institute a change, we give some warning and then we issue tickets? Or-
There's the law, state law requires us to have a certain, I don't know that off the top of my head, certain number of days, and we have to post the passing of an ordinance, so it doesn't go up right away.
Okay, so if it was an ordinance, we would have put some kind of warning.
Yeah, but this is, like I said, this was a
Yeah, I
whole
understand.
ordinance, yeah.
And
And
then,
Counselor,
what?
you get one more?
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
So my third one is, I wasn't here last time, and I was wondering if there was an update on the Park and Rec signage.
Last I knew, she was looking, I have seen the design. I okayed it, I think they're just trying to get it made.
Okay, you said like a month ago that it was in the sign-making company.
It is, but it's still, we still don't have the one for the fire station that's being made. But she has, I mean, I've seen it before. I saw it last month. There was a staff meeting, I don't know off the top of my head, but yes, she
Yeah.
has it, rec department's doing that.
Okay, and we know where it's going?
My understanding is she does, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a debate, right?
Yeah.
Between the police department and
The housing authority.
Right, okay, that's it.
Okay. Counselor Ward, you've been waiting.
Oh,
For a while.
I'm just gonna point out that, again, it's not that it was a new ordinance, it was one that we just forgot to enforce, I guess is the best way, and, yeah, I would basically just say, like, you know, if you were caught on that first day, appeal, and I think it can be reasonable to say, hey, you didn't know the first time, but if a sign was put up there for something that's already existing, and, you know, we can still remind people in our newsletter too. Also, just like a thing, if, Councilor Blackstone, if you weren't here last meeting, you voted yes on the meeting minutes.
Because I'm not here doesn't mean I can watch
That's
it
correct.
on Channel 13.
Got it. Okay, that was.
Abstaining, you do not have to abstain from a meeting voting. It's, as long as you believe that's an accurate copy of the
Okay,
minutes.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I was not, sure,
Yeah.
I was thought, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to give everybody my clothes, so I stayed home.
Yeah, well,
But
I appreciate
thank
it.
you, yeah, but I watched it.
Okay.
It was very exciting.
Are there any other questions or comments on the town manager's report? Okay. Next item is department reports. Are there any questions or comments about the department reports? Councilor Lamatina.
Yeah, according to Chief Jordan's report, I think congratulations are in order for Officer Nick Espo and his wife Mackenzie. He delivered his own baby.
His own
That's
baby.
an awesome thing. I waited outside when I had my kids. Just wanted to mention that.
Nice. Any other questions or comments? I have a couple. On the police department report, I really love the emphasis sort of on the mental health and wellness checks. I think those are great. And I also really appreciated in the department reports the sort of emphasis on encouraging citizens of Newmarket to talk to one another and work things out. I think that's great, particularly in an area where it's so easy to be divided over all the things. It's nice to see that the police department is encouraging folks to engage with one another civilly to resolve their problems. Congrats also on the police department to Brenda Bunpakam, new administrative assistant, part-time, awesome. I thought that was really great. Brenda, welcome, and keep dancing with your brother. I thought it was great to see the progress in the fire department. Really exciting to see the progress on the renovation. That's really encouraging and exciting to see. I'm glad that that's getting done. I think the next step is drywall. It looked like there was still several openings in the Public Works Department. Do you, by any chance, know what they're still trying to bring on board? I know, I should have,
don't.
I should have emailed.
That's
It's
okay.
not like a
But it's
big deal.
we're having the problem, we're just competing with the private sector.
Yeah.
So many construction companies just offering bonuses and rates that you can't, because that we can't compete at this point. It's, you know, a recession comes, we'll be seeing
Yes, we
more
will.
people back in the public sector, but right now we're competing with the private sector.
Okay, okay. And then on the IT, did this, I know they were working on identifying the source of the break between DTW, MDF, and the library to get
Found
that,
out-
did they get that fixed?
Yeah, the CFO told me yesterday it was a squirrel ate it, the wire, and they were gonna be replacing it. And it's about a $2,000 fix, so and he's got the funds.
Got it, got it. Okay.
Expensive squirrel.
Yeah.
It was a pricey little squirrel. And for Rec Department, congrats, Alyssa Porto, for receiving the Don Halinger Young Professional Award. That's awesome. The last, I think, comment on the department reports is the Heather in the Department of Welfare has reported a spike in applications for a variety of assistance types. It continues to be a concern. It's not going to go away. The Newmarket, and we've talked about this, the Newmarket Town General Assistance, it's a fund of last resort, and more people are applying to access this. So she'd also indicated the news is not getting better. So that's a continued concern. I guess it makes me even happier about the community aggregation of the power plan to maybe provide at least some relief in terms of energy prices. And I guess with the last thing on the library, kudos to the All Together Now theme for the summer reading. Again, really exciting to see Newmarket, departments consistently working to do everything they can to bring community members together and to bring community members in conversation with one another, and to encourage everybody to remember that we're all on the same side. And those are all my comments. Okay, we will move on to item number 7, and that is committee reports. Do we have any committee reports this evening? No. Councilor Blackstone.
The planning board met, and the main topic is still the trying to come up with a historic district in terms of what is a historic district, like what's it going to cover. And each time we have this discussion, it gets smaller and smaller, and so we've now decided it's just going to be Main Street. Nothing, we were going to do a historic overlay district, but that ran into too many questions, and so now we've narrowed it down to we're just doing historic buildings on Main Street. So at least it'll be a start, and it'll get us, right now we have nothing, so.
And is that sorry, were there any questions for Councilor Blackstone?
Yeah. Just one.
Councilor Jones.
Thank you. I think that's really good news, recognizing historic buildings in town, and you said it was going to be a start to begin with the buildings on Main Street. Is there the intent to figure out how to include other historic buildings throughout town? I mean, your district could, of course, include just buildings that are, or properties that are identified, rather than have to be an area that includes all the properties inside of it.
The council received a letter signed by 50 or 60 people, a lot of people, right? Many business owners, many people from the Historical Society, asking that basically the town establish historic precedents, right? And the town council at the time thought that was, something that we should address, right? And that was then referred to the planning board, because they would write it and then they'd bring it here and then we'd approve it, right? so the town, I think our council at the time had a broader, was thinking more broadly, but it's always details, right? And so, you know, well, what about this or what about that? So there are a bunch of people who want to regulate what the windows would look like. Like they really want paint, you know, they don't want a big piece of glass. And, you know, types of brick and this kind of stuff. And then there are people who think this is New Hampshire, it's live free or die, right? You should be able to do any damn thing you want with your building. So you have to find some intermediate path there. So right now, you can tear down a historic building at Main Street and build a McDonald's. That's perfectly acceptable.
Right.
And it doesn't even go to the planning board because if you bought a restaurant and tore it down and put in a McDonald's, that's not a change of use, so the planning board doesn't get involved, right? So at least now, if you wanted to do that, it would have to go to the planning board.
As long as it's on Main Street.
As long as it's
Yeah.
on Main Street, yeah. And then if that, maybe if we work that out, then if the council is more interested in bigger things, then we could then maybe use it as a template to go further.
Councillor Blackstone, is this action that the planning board has taken or just conversation that the planning board's currently having? Is this
Well, these
has
are-
the final decision been made, like this has already been voted on?
No,
Okay.
no, but
Okay.
poor Bart, every month he brings a detailed plan, right? That he's really put a lot of time and effort into clearly. And then that plan gets changed. And so I think we have a consensus now. And so at the next planning board, Bart will bring a detailed plan of just Main Street, just historic buildings. And then our plan is that once we get one we all agree to, then we're going to have a public forum. And because it's now a small number of people, you know, the historic buildings, everyone will be individually contacted by letter and invited to the public meeting. And so we're hoping that we can get the historical society, we can get a lot of input, and maybe build a kind of, you know, consensus among the community. And obviously, we will all get invited to this meeting.
Okay. Any other committee reports? Okay. Then the next item on our agenda is old business, and we have resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And this evening there are two. The first is Resolution 2022-2023-43, the Newmarket Newfields Ambulance Service Agreement. And I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. I'll turn this over to you, Manager Fournier,
Sure.
to speak to this.
So this is for those who don't know, we provide ambulance service for the town of Newfields. We charge a fee based on the population. It's about $5,000, I think they pay us now. But the other benefit we get is, as I mentioned earlier, the ambulance revenues. So by getting those extra calls to Newfields, we charge for the insurance to get the ambulance service there. We've been doing this, probably almost 10 years. And it's a win-win. They don't have to have an ambulance, and we get extra money.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Manager Fournier, what did you say that the current per capita figure is?
It's per capita, per population, or for how much we get for them. It's about, I want to say it's about 5,000,
Okay,
a little less.
okay,
Yeah, because population of Newfields is 1,700 and change,
okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There are no other comments or discussion? If you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamatina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue,
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conley,
Aye.
motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. Okay, and item B is Resolution 2022-2023-45, Newmarket Community Power Aggregation Plan. And I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Excellent. And do I have a
Second.
Excellent. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Not go.
Councilor Lamatina.
Okay, so I'm the sponsor of this resolution. It's a fairly good-sized document. I did send you a couple of bullet points. I'll pick out three that I just want to cover. So this is a plan. It's basically, that's all it is. It's a plan how to get from A to B and how we're going to govern the program, okay? The plan, if approved, does not obligate the town to do anything at this point. In the document, we specifically say that this program will only launch if it's able to offer rates that are competitive with Eversource or cheaper than Eversource. And Eversource rented. And it specifically says that it will not launch without the approval of the town council. The town council determining that it's in the best interest of the town of Newmarket. And the last bullet I'll say is that it no taxpayer funds will be utilized to run this program, with the exception of perhaps the time by the town manager and town council to review contracts and whatever, but no taxpayer funds are involved. Okay, so again, this is just a plan on how to get from A to B.
Are there any questions or discussion? Councilor Blackstone.
I'd just like to just mention that I own property in Canterbury, Hampshire, which is near Concord, and the Eversource rate is like 24.5 cents, and they have converted, and I'm now paying 17 cents. So it is a pretty substantial reduction.
Yes, but can't always guarantee that that will always be the case.
Are there any?
But again, it'll offer more clean energy options than what Eversource has, and Community Power does have the ability to negotiate at present longer-term contracts, whereas Eversource and the others have to negotiate every 6 months.
Are there any other comments or questions?
Just like, 'cause, if I may.
Yes.
So-
Manager Forney.
Just to make sure, because I know Dover didn't vote last week to join, because they had some questions. It failed because of a tie. But Portsmouth is in. Would we be in the 23 group, or would we be in the 24 group?
We're in the 24, we're
That's what I thought.
wave
Okay.
3.
Just
We
wanted
would
to-
not be told
Yeah.
sometime next year.
Other questions? I have a couple. You said we'd be in the 24 group. What is the timeline then for getting started?
Okay. We're in what's currently being termed Wave 3, which would be the spring of 2024. The plan is to get to the town manager all the official contracts that would be needed. Actually, if this is approved tonight, the next thing that happens is this plan goes to the Public Utility Commission and Community Power. They review it and they approve it. Okay. The plan is to get to the town manager the official contracts by the September-October timeframe, give him basically all winter and just to February timeframe to approve it, and say, yeah, this is okay, and at which time February-March timeframe the town council would approve it if we do, and we would launch in the April-May spring timeframe with Newmarket Community Power.
Okay, thank you. If nobody else has any comments, I did want to say that I'm in support of this resolution for a couple of reasons. One, of course, is the emphasis on sustainable energy and the ways in which consumers would actually be able to opt into sort of different tiers of kind of pricing that would create made up of sort of different bundles of sustainable energy, which I think is a cool thing. But even more important to me actually is the fact that that this only launches if we have the ability to be competitive or lower the prices for citizens of Newmarket, particularly given that we have more people who are applying for services for energy assistance, any kind of anything that we can do to provide some relief and to do something that helps, I think is a good thing. So I'm in favor of this. Are there any, is there any other discussion? Oh, yes, Councilor Ward.
I just was gonna say, oftentimes when we talk about environmental things, it's always the kind of things like, oh, this is gonna be more expensive, it's gonna take, and I think this is really a good, is showing that doing something environmentally conscious can also help people save money. You know, and again, great that it doesn't only kicks in when it hits, you know, competitive or better rates, but really, I feel like it's a really good sign that we can show that we can be environmentally friendly and save people some money at home too, so.
Councilor Glazebrook.
My understanding from reading it was that we have to be able to offer prices that are better than Eversource and also at least offer as sustainable of electricity. Is that, was I understand that? It was,
Councilor Lemon.
It's, we have to offer sustainable energy more than what
More
Eversource
than.
offers.
okay.
Any other comments or questions?
I'll just add one other comment, if that's okay.
Well, let me make sure
Newmarket
nobody else,
does-
Councilor Lamontagne, let me make sure nobody else wants to speak. I just want to make sure folks have an opportunity if they want to before we kind of go back around. Sorry. Okay. Councilor Lamontagne, thank
Okay,
you for your
sorry.
patience.
Just want to add, Newmarket has a fair number of apartments and condominiums where they're not able to install their own solar. And this gives them an opportunity to participate in, you know, renewable energy, up to 100% renewable energy.
Thank you. Okay. If there are no other comments, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Glazebrook?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblum?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. And item number 10, to nominations, appointments, and elections. We have one today to consider State Representative Charlotte DiLorenzo for an appointment to the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Human Rights Committee with a term expiration of April 2026. And I would accept a motion to appoint Representative DiLorenzo to this committee.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? I'm delighted that 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 Representative DiLorenzo wants to be a part of it. I think should be a great addition. And if there are no other comments or questions, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Glazebrook?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblum?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
You know, she's already a member of it.
We're just re-upping.
Yeah.
Okay. We now are in resolutions and ordinances in the first reading. And the first one is Ordinance 6, 2022-2023, procurement policy. And I would request to read that by title only. Really? Yeah, it's big. And do I need approval on that?
Nope.
Okay. And the next item is Resolution 2022-2023-46, and that is the police cruiser purchase. And this is for the purchase of a Ford Interceptor SUV for the police department to include costs associated with purchase of emergency lighting equipment and setup. Whereas the police department seeks to replace the current Frontline 2018 Ford Interceptor SUV with 108,433 miles and replace it with a new 2023 Ford Interceptor SUV at the state bid price of $43,910.35. And whereas the department's request includes the cost associated with the transferal and or replacement of police radios, emergency lighting, and equipment necessary for police services, as well as costs associated with lettering the vehicle. And whereas the total amount to be utilized from the 2023 line item for police vehicles, $53,417, and the police department public safety vehicle detail account, $18,305.55, and related equipment to include lettering is $71,722.55. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council.
There's an error on your resolution.
There is an error on the resolution.
There's no resolve.
There is no resolve.
So we will have an amendment to this for the
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay.
So we'll have another first reading.
You do not, I mean, you do not have to, because I mean, he explained it here. We'll just provide you with the paragraph that what it resolves to do. Unless it's the wish of the council to have another reading. Yeah.
And would we make that determination now or next week?
We can do it next week.
Okay.
Is there a reason we're not looking for a hybrid vehicle?
It is.
Oh, it is a hybrid?
Yeah, we have, all our police cruisers are now.
Okay. And the next resolution is the water and sewer rate increase resolution. And this is Resolution 2023-47, water and sewer rates increases for fiscal year 2024. Whereas water and sewer rates shall be determined by the town council from time to time in amounts that will adequately cover the costs of operation, maintenance, and repair of existing infrastructure, and also for reasonable extensions and replacements to existing mains and toward acquisition of future water supply plant and equipment. Whereas it is necessary to increase the sewer rate by 10 cents a year to meet expenses, and whereas the town of Newmarket has undertaken water projects that will improve capacity, water quality, and distribution, and whereas it is necessary to increase the water rate 50 cents a year to meet the costs associated with inflation and the water projects that the town has undertaken. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the Town Council does hereby approve the following water rates to be effective for the August 2023 quarterly billing. Water and sewer users will be billed $7.25 and $12.75 per 100 cubic feet of water consumed respectively. The quarterly system charge will remain at $10 per quarter for each water and sewer. First reading, May 17th, 2023. And finally, we have Resolution 2022-2023-48, and the amending cable franchise agreement with Comcast Maine, New Hampshire for a 10-year extension. And this will be read in title only. Okay. Yep. We are now on to new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to the town council, Manager Fournier?
It was done.
Okay. And are there any closing comments by the by town councilors?
I'm not a council, but I wanted to correct something I just said.
Oh, okay.
Coincidentally, the chief of police is watching the meeting. We were not able to get a hybrid on this one because there's none out there because of the issues with the supply chain. So this one will not be a hybrid. I know we have other cruises that are hybrids. So,
Nice.
Well, we have one.
yeah, I think one or two.
Information in real time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not sure
Chief
we have
Jordan.
a second.
Councilor Lamatina, I know you were waiting.
Yep, I'd like to recognize and commend former town councilor chair Tony Weinstein. Annually, she runs this program, Clean Up Newmarket Streets. She did that last month, or we did that last month. The weather was not cooperating. It was cold, rainy, wet day. Despite that, managed to pick up 44 bags of trash around the town. Councilor did send us a note saying something about inordinate number of beer cans that were picked up. I can say that or show that. Also, I was surprised myself, my 5-year-old grandson mentioned this, that I was surprised to see the number of cigarette butts that were picked up along the side of the road in leaves and whatever. I'm not sure what the council can do about that, but I thought I'd make sure everybody's aware of it.
Thank you, Councilor Lamatina. Closing comments by any other councilors? Councilor Blackstone.
I was just wondering if there was any Bud Light that was picked up.
But you name it, Bud Light and Coors, a lot of Coors.
Anyone else? I have a couple things. I wanted to kind of remind folks that Channel 13 is a great resource to see what's happening in town council, the planning board, and other committee meetings. There's a couple things coming up. This Saturday, 5/20, is the book sale in Bloom and Newmarket, 8 a.m. at the library. There's always a great collection of books for sale, and a lot of really awesome plants. So go there and support those guys. The Memorial Day Parade is May 30th at 6:30 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And where does that start and where does it end?
The parade lines
Andrew Park?
up at Elm Street, we'll go down Main Street to, all the way down to, yes, Packers Falls, up to the cemetery,
Okay.
and there'll be a ceremony there,
Okay.
as well as disband.
Excellent. Thank you. The 5:25 is the Rec Connect mixer from 5 to 7. With the and then with welfare applications rising, you know, please reach out to community organizations, you know, that you're connected with. Let's see. Heather did make a special of a point of calling out and praising the Newmarket Community Church Pastor Patty. So if you're looking for ways to to get involved and ways to help, reaching out to Pastor Patty is a really great first step. If you want to, you know, tie up your sneakers and show up and find something to do, you know, and support, reaching out to see kind of what's needed would be a great way to do that. And as always, donating to the Newmarket Food Pantry that former Councilor Weinstein is deeply involved in. There's always a great deal of need there, so please, you know, continue to support Newmarket residents and do what you can. I did want to ask councilors, I know that Councilor Lamatina, you had asked about, you know, a separate survey for, you know, the what is it, the waterfront, Riverfront Advisory Committee, and Councilor Ward, you had asked about some different mechanisms for engagement, and I wondered if it might be, if folks might be open to having a short kind of workshop session before the next meeting to just talk about different ways that we might go about engaging folks and getting some information. Maybe there are, you know, additional surveys. Maybe it's working with the town to set up, you know, like coffee with a counselor or, you know, stuff at the Stone Church. Just maybe get some ideas going. I know that was an interest for a lot of people. How can we get more folks to engage, and how can we get, you know, continue to get a better read on what the needs are. I don't know if there's a.
Do you want to do a 6 o'clock workshop just to?
Would folks be open to that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's certainly worthwhile having a little conversation about it and seeing what kind of topics we're interested in as well.
Awesome. Councilor Wood?
I realize it's going to be stupid. 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Not a.m.?
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Oh.
Sorry.
6 p.m.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Sorry. As soon as I start the question formed in my head, I'm like,
No.
that'll be ridiculous.
But you know what? It's always good.
Yes.
It's always good to confirm. Councilor White.
Yeah, I would just add on to what you were saying, Chair Conley, that being a member of and an active member of the community church, Pastor Patty will indeed find you something to do. And the other point would be that the food pantry within the last few months has increased the number of families served from about 50 to 60. They are now serving over 100 families per week.
So almost double.
Almost double. And and those are just the people that have swallowed their pride enough to go there to get food. So the need is obviously there, and magnified a lot more than we know. But if that many people have gone to that point, then there's an increase and there's a need in the community, and I'm glad that we're so centrally located there in the community church within walking distance of a lot of places to be able to get people down there help them through the week. So,
Tony's good.
she probably is.
She is. Any other closing comments? Okay. If there are no other comments, our next meeting is June 7th, 2023. And if there are no objections, I will consider us adjourned.